Good morning, Ed 231, Exceptional Child. My name is Dr. Turner. I am your online instructor for this 8-week course through William Woods and our Moodle site. So I wanted to just jump on here for a few minutes to introduce myself, the big picture of the course, and 3, kind of tackle week 1 just as an overview. So before I start in on a little bit about myself, I will just say, more than anything else, don't stress, don't panic about this class. I know that there's a lot of information. It's very overwhelming to jump into, especially if this is your first online class, if this is your first time using Moodle, if this is your, if you're new into your program and this is something that is like a first step for you in your college coursework. So don't stress about it. Each week I'll post a video like this in the news forum, the news feed, so that my intention is to kind of give feedback on the week before and introduce the task coming up for this week. And everything is laid out for you week to week in the Moodle site. In the backdrop of this video, you can see the Moodle page that you should be seeing. This is what the student view is. So before I jump into the course, I just want to introduce myself a little bit. I have finished my first year with William Woods. I work on the main campus and I am the program coordinator for special education. And I teach some of the elementary education, special education. I also teach some graduate courses and now online courses. So I will also add a little note that this is my first online course through Moodle. I have taught online through other institutions before, but this is my first through William Woods and my first through Moodle. So I will say that everything is set up to where at any point in time, if anyone is taking EDU 231 online, it's the same information, the same course, the same projects, papers, and all of that. So it is a set course that I do not have control over as far as editing assignments and responsibilities and point values and all of that. So we will learn through this together. So that's okay. So I want us to just look through the Moodle page. So if you have already worked in Moodle, if you've already navigated through some of this, which I know some of you have, I apologize if this is kind of repetitious for you, but I still want to make sure that with 23 of us in the class, that we all are at least at the same starting line. So when you log in through Elnet and you have your course information up here on the main page, this is your general tab. And the news forum right here is where I'm going to post this video and each weekly video. And this open collaboration and idea sharing forum is actually where some of you have already started to post your week 1 introduction post. And so that's perfect. If you've not used Moodle before or done online learning through William Woods, you're going to want to look at this information on how to get started. The syllabus is right here. Again, there's a lot of information, but it's very nicely broken down week to week as you get about halfway through the syllabus. Textbook information for the course. You will need to purchase this textbook, either hard copy or ebook, and because you will have chapter reflections, discussion forums, and quizzes that you're going to make sure to complete, and you will need the textbook content for that. And then you are submitting your work through Turnitin, so make sure that you understand how to see and receive your feedback in Turnitin. All right, so let's look at this first week of classes. So you're going to see that in this main part of the screen, each week is broken down and starts with the same information as far as your objectives and introduction. So start there because that's the task, the objectives that you're going to work towards this first week. Then you have the PowerPoint presentation that goes along with Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, so make sure that you are looking at the PowerPoint presentation either as a support for your reading or after you've read, or maybe even as an introduction before you read. Rubrics for week 1, you can take a look at those. They go along with your reflection paper and your chapter reflections and things like that. So each week will show the rubrics that you're going to be using. My understanding, I don't see Turnitin from your lens, from the student lens, but my understanding is that those rubrics are also built in there, so you'll be able to see them. From what I have seen, there may be some confusion on some of the rubrics, so what I would recommend is just make sure you're looking at the title of the assignment and make sure that it matches the title of the rubric, okay? So your week 1 assignments, which are all also here, but if you click on that, it's going to explain you have 5 tasks to do this week. The first thing is your instructor first contact homework. So you're going to go into that online forum, tell me a little bit about yourself, and post any questions about the syllabus. I am going to, because there are several questions that I've already noticed and we only have about half of you that have responded so far, I'm going to compile all of those questions into one kind of FAQ document, and then I'll send that out in the news forum also. Reading chapters 1 and 2 again, making sure that you are posting in the forum about chapters 1 and 2 and that you have your chapter reflections and that you're integrating the content. Please be mindful that there are expectations for number of words in your posts, and you also excuse me, you also have 2 replies for each post, so make sure that you are mindful of the expectations for not only number of words but types of posts and the ways we want to encourage each other in this learning process. So make sure that you have your, you understand 100 words for your post, your comment, and then 50 words for each of your 2 replies. Then you also have your disability personal reflection paper, and then your quiz over chapter 1 and quiz over chapter 2. So if you notice here, there are some hyperlinks that can get you going and just kind of like take you along step by step. So we've already kind of looked at the outcomes. Now these are your assignments. And if I'm going to go here, it kind of prompts me as almost like a checklist. Like, here's what you're going to do first. The first contact homework. So you're going to go into the discussion forum and put that information in here. After you do that, chapter 1 and 2 reflections are here. Thank you for those of you that have already jumped on there and completed that. Summary of, your first quiz, I'm sorry. So you're going to complete this first quiz. So for me, because I already clicked on it to see what was in there, it shows that it's in progress. For you, it will have a button that says preview quiz or begin quiz, and you'll go ahead and take that. Again, make sure that you have looked at the PowerPoints and have read the chapters, because they are pretty much directly pulled straight from the chapters. Then your next task is going to be your disability personal reflection paper. So this is something that you are going to upload. You are going to identify a past experience where you have either interacted or worked with, or maybe it's a family member, someone with a disability, preferably a child, because we're focusing on K-12. And based on that experience, kind of what are your attitudes and thoughts and intentions toward working with children with similar disabilities. The intention of this is that you're talking about what your experience has been and how you would work with students as an educator, as a leader, and as a partner in their educational journey. So tell me a little bit about what that looks like and sounds like and feels like for you. So I know that there was a question in the introduction forum about, well, what if I have never had this situation? And what if I've never interacted with a person with a disability? So I would encourage you to dig deep and think broadly. That's a little oxymoron, dig deep and think broadly, about students with disabilities. So sometimes our mindset takes us to a place where we think of the most outwardly physical signs of a child with disabilities. So we're thinking of students with Down syndrome, students who are in a wheelchair or cerebral palsy, things like that, where we can visibly see that they have a disability in some way. So I encourage you, if you're feeling like you haven't had an interaction with anyone with a learning disability or with a disability, think about students and people that you may have interacted with that have a learning disability that does not have physical characteristics, ADHD or Maybe it could be a blind visual impairment, hearing impairment. So there are several different types of disabilities that aren't physically noticeable, but are very much a disability for that person. So you probably you just need to think about it a little bit broader. But again, I'll put that in my FAQ document, and then we will, I'll have some options for you there. So again, if you go back up here, so this little breadcrumb trail where you can kind of click back to what you've already seen, that took us, that disability personal reflection paper was the very last part of your lesson activities for the week. So make sure that you kind of just go, my recommendation more than anything else is just literally take this as a checklist. Look at your objectives, look at your chapter presentations, read your chapters, then jump into your lesson activities. So I hope this helps to kind of clarify the things that, one, that you need to do this first week, two, that you will be tackling as we go along. So there are several activities and things that you guys are going to be working on. Lots of quizzes for the chapters, reflections in the discussion forum. You have a small research project to do with an annotated bibliography. So take each week for each week. I know that there are some things that you're going to want to jump into and tackle and kind of build up to and not leave to the last minute, and I totally understand that and respect that. But I also just want to make sure that you are not jumping ahead too far, that you're confused and you're confusing assignment types, and because sometimes we feel like there's a lot of information, and there is a lot of information. There's a lot of tasks to do in this class. But if we take it week to week, you'll get this introductory video each week where I will explain. You have friends, there's 23 of you in this class, so reach out to each other and ask questions about things. And each week I will try to keep an eye on your questions. So I'll just kind of create a discussion forum for questions so that everyone can engage in the same place to ask questions, because I am sure that if one of you has a question that you're wanting to ask, at least 5 of you are asking the same question to yourself at home. So after I post this video and I post the FAQ responses, then I will also create just a general questions forum. So anytime in the class that you have a question, I want you to put it there. Please do not email me your question, because then others in the class cannot see it. So I want us all to be able to learn from each other and with each other through this course. So if you have a question, go to that questions discussion forum that I will create here shortly. So hopefully each weekly video isn't going to be quite this long. My intention is that it's 5, 6, 7 minutes, but just enough to give you a check-in on what you're going to be doing and kind of feedback from the week prior, where we're going, what's on tap. So I look forward to hearing from you guys. Your contributions to the introduction post have already been great. I appreciate all of the information that you guys are providing. We have a wide variety of people who are already in the field, who are brand new to William Woods, and who are getting this course out of the way for their general course curriculum. We have students who have changed majors, so they now need this course, and they're in different places in their program. So I think we have a lot to learn through and with each other. So I appreciate you guys supporting each other in these next 8 weeks as we learn together. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out in that questions forum. And my intention is to respond within 24 hours and on the weekends within 48 hours. So there are some specific deadlines. Just by the way, one last point. There are some specific deadlines. Please check the rubric for when things are due. The discussion forum is really the only thing that has a hard deadline that's before the weekend. So make sure that you're mindful of that. And then the rest of the work, I believe, is due on Sunday of every week. I will double check that to make sure, but I just want you to be mindful of what is due when, because I know the discussion forums are due sooner than the rest of the week's work. So again, welcome to 231 Online. My name is Dr. Turner. I look forward to working with you guys and for us to learn through and with each other. Have a great first week.